make it, to get it going, you've got to have the talent, you got to possess the talent, you got to have great ambition, and you got to have a little bit of luck. And it can still be tough to make it in the business. We've got music industry insider John Seda with us today. He's going to talk to us a little bit about his wealth of knowledge and 30 years of music industry experience. That is just absolutely phenomenal. And his website is bornamusician.com. And John, we've got, like we said earlier, we've got Velo in studio. He is just coming up. He's getting it going. He's going to be performing for the very first time in Hutchinson, in his hometown. He's performed many times in the past, various shows throughout central Kansas, but his first hometown show is going to be on New Year's Eve. And we just heard his track a second ago. We're going to be playing some more stuff from his SoundCloud page here in a few. But give our audience and some of the musicians in the audience, and even our musician we've got in studio today, give us some tips for trying to make it in the music industry, my friend, because you've got an entire catalog of knowledge, my man.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that from an overall perspective, there has to be a little bit of change in the music industry because, when you look back at the 30s and the 40s when they were doing the first deals, records were being spun out. Yeah. It started off wrong back then, and it really hasn't changed much now, other than the music is different. Maybe people have long hair, short hair, different types of clothing, but the intent is almost the same. Now, with that being said, what needs to be done to make change in this business is that you got to learn business. And for years, musicians have fought that off. Oh, I don't want to do business. I just want to play my guitar. But they want to become famous and they want to become rich. So how are they going to do that if they don't have the knowledge of business? And I don't think it's such a difficult thing for musicians to really grasp onto. I think it's just a way of thinking outside of the box. Yeah. I think that when you really think about it, when you entertain people, you're somewhat doing business because you're getting them to like you. You're getting them to join in with you. So and that's about selling, right? Selling your
Oh yeah.
So I think that, just doing a little bit of research because, today's industry is now independent, and that's what bornamusician.com is about. We're about, helping musicians to make money, and like these interviews, we talk about this and we do seminars, and we're going to be doing some more videos which are going to be instructional for people so they can, get a grip of what's going on right now because practically the majors are gone. Yeah. And the people that are getting signed, you're probably well aware of this, are people that are doing funny parody things, that are doing something that has nothing to do with talent or music. It's something to do with they're a goofball and people can make fun of them. Oh, they got 1 million dislikes.
All these these YouTube guys.
Right, exactly. So basically, when it comes down to it, if you really want to be involved in music deeply, then you have to be able to do it by yourself and don't depend on anybody. Yeah. And there's a lot of people already, going in that direction, and it's been successful for them. For example, I had a session in my studio yesterday working with a young artist, which he wrote a great song, and we produced it together, and it's going to be really cool stuff. He said, well, how do I do this? And I logged into the back end of my website to show him, the groups that were selling music. I said, you see, all these groups are selling music. So that means you can do it too. So music, people do buy music, but of course, there's a criteria. It has to be good. I think a lot what happens today is that musicians tend to self-judge themselves and want it to be too perfect before it goes out, or they don't give it enough time into it. I advise that the best thing to do is do it as best as you can, put it out there, and let them be the judge of it. Let the fans be the judge of it. Don't hold back something. I hear all the time where musicians will say, oh, that song is old. Yeah, only 20 people heard it. Now it's old. You got the whole world out there to listen to your music. So I think it's a mindset about how you approach things. You have to be determined. Luck does play a certain part, but that's superstitious in a way. The truth is that if you do not put your foot down and and want to do it and wish it and work at it, it's not going to happen for you. So and every year the independent label list gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
And you know why? Because they can make all their money, and then it's like the major labels were taking everything. Only the I would call the chosen few made money. And why would you sign a deal today, which is really funny? Oh, I just want to, that's their vision. Oh, I want Sony to sign me, and then not make a penny. So it's better, to start off learning how to do business, and if you can create YouTube views or make yourself popular, even if Universal or Sony comes to you, learn how to negotiate, because the worst thing you can do is sign a deal and not be happy with it, and and at the end of the day, it's your fault because you didn't take the time to read it or to get some knowledge about it.
We've got John Seda with us today, music industry insider, founder of Born a Musician. We've got substituting for Israel today. We have Jennifer, and then, of course, we have in studio the man, the myth, the legend. He's going to be coming to Hutchinson, Kansas very soon. Velo is in studio. We heard some tracks from Velo earlier. Well-produced track, by the way, my friend, and we will talk about that in a few once we're done here with John. And John Seda is with us today, Secrets to Make It in the Music Industry. And he's joining us today here exclusively on Radio Xenu and TalkRadioX.com, as well as K-Rocks. You've collaborated with Grammy winners, gold, and platinum-selling artists. John, what are some of the big mistakes that many artists tend to make while trying to pursue fame and fortune?
Sucking.
Well, that too.
I was getting ready to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think that's what it is. They try to pursue fame and fortune, and they're not dedicated to what the reason why they're really doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to focus on your music, but you shouldn't focus that much that you don't know how to ask for money. In other words, to perform. I mean, a lot of stuff that happens now, they're using that word exposure. How do you say that? Very freely. In other words, you can get exposure. Well, I say all musicians, I say this, so I said, you can die from exposure. Overexposure is not good either. So there's got to be a point where you're not afraid, and to, as a studio owner, again, I will share this, and it's the same thing as being in a band.
Yeah.
When people come up to me, they say, how much I charge? I say, I charge so much. And how much for this? This is how much it costs. I don't hesitate. I just say it immediately, quickly. So they have to do the same thing. They have to learn how to be not ashamed of asking for money. And I got a good analogy. This is a little joke that I tell people sometimes. I said, you wonder why some people will take certain jobs and say, well, that's a real job, right? Like go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And work over a stove for 8 or 10 hours, right?
Yep.
Well, musicians can give lessons and charge $50 an hour, right? But there's a tendency that a lot of them won't do it because the guy that they're teaching maybe, in their opinion, not be serious enough, or might not be the next Dizzy Gillespie or the next, Rod Stewart or whatever. And they say, well, I don't want to waste my time. Well, let me say something very clear to all you musicians out there. I'd rather make $50 trying to teach somebody something for 1 hour, and even if they quit after 5 lessons, than to work for $7 an hour at a McDonald's flipping burgers. Because at the end of the day, I can get 2 lessons in 1 day.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, let's get on a motorcycle and take a ride to the beach.
Well, John Seda is with us today, music industry insider, founder of Born a Musician. Secrets to Make It in the Music Industry is the topic today. He's got 30 years of music industry experience. And before we let you go, John, besides having talent, what are some of the other necessary attributes to make it in the music business?
Determination.
That's it? Determination?
Never quit. I mean, you have to. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's the same thing that applies in music. What makes a great musician? The rule of the 10,000 times, play it over and over again. So you have to be determined to do it, and you got to get it out of your mind that there is no instant download to fix or to make you better at playing. Time is a key factor.
Yeah.
And spending time at your talent is definitely the way to go. And be organized. Be as much as organized as you can. As much as that's a bad word for a lot of us, but organize your music, have the lyrics printed up, all that good stuff.